All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Sales Pipeline Radio. I'm your host, Matt Hines. Very excited to have you here on the last day of the month. For some of you, last day of the quarter. It's our guest last day of the quarter here today, so appreciate him joining us. If you are joining today's episode live on LinkedIn, we are really excited to have you join us in the middle of your work day and work week. You could be part of the show. If you hear something you want to comment on, if you've got a question for our guest today, if you've got a rebuttal, if you've got a rant on any topic related to sales and marketing, we'd love to hear that. We will see that. We can respond to that. We can put you in the show as well. So thank you for that. If you are listening or watching on demand, thank you so much for subscribing. I think we're a little over 300,000 downloads now of Sales Pipeline Radio. So thank you so much for being a part of that. Every episode of Sales Pipeline Radio, past, present, and future, is always available at salespipelineradio.com. Very excited on the last day of his month and last day of his quarter to be joined by the CEO of Outreach, Abhijit Mitra. Abhijit, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me here, Matt. Yes, super excited to be here. Yes, it's the last day of the quarter, and I'm here with you.
And we're going to get into why you're not like as hair on fire because you're drinking your own champagne a little bit here. I will say, just as full disclosure, I am an Outreach customer. I'm a happy Outreach customer. I literally use it every day and have for almost 10 years. It's just a key part of our workflow and my workflow. So I was excited to have you on today. And in addition to the end of the quarter, I know it also, you guys are just coming down off of the big Unleash conference, which Outreach has been doing forever. So talk a little bit about that and what you heard and learned there.
Yes, so we actually announced our AI revenue workflow platform. This is something new. It's not the same old thing, a new bottle. So basically, we talked about how AI agents are going to help revenue teams across the company automate a lot of the work through agentic AI. And then we also announced a few key partnerships. One of them was with SAP. And we had customers on stage talking about outcomes that they're getting by using Outreach. So these are some of the sort of the exciting moments of the Unleash customer conference.
I would imagine among a lot of the attendees that were there that there's a lot of conversation around that balance between agents and humans.
Yeah.
I was told 3 years ago that by now inside sales BDRs would be extinct. That has not happened. I have seen people try to completely replace BDRs in many cases with technology, and that in many cases has not worked really well. Seems like there's a balance that needs to happen here. What are you hearing from your customers, from people at Unleash? And then what's your perspective on sort of, how agents and humans will interact moving forward?
Yeah. So, I mean, with every new technology, there is a prediction, there's a doomsday prediction that, hey, it's humans are not needed anymore. And
Right.
yeah, granted, generative AI is truly a differentiating technology. It can do a lot more for us. But, my belief has always been that technology is in the service of people and it's not the other way around. And we invent technology so it helps us.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's why we do it. So there's always a balance. And if the technology is really good, we will see more adoption of that. It's like, using this device that I have here. The more I use it, the more I get attached to it. And I can't go from room A to room B without this next to me. And I'm just a lot more productive because of this. Imagine when this was being, people were starting to use cell phones. We were saying that, hey, you shouldn't hold this to your head. You get a brain tumor, you'll die. That was the prediction. So it's somewhat same for AI and generative AI and agentic AI as well. It's still, I would say, in early stages. It's still maturing quite a bit.
Yeah.
But we are seeing internally, we're using this in Outreach as well. We're seeing a lot of productivity, a lot of helpful work, meaning all the grunt work that AI agents are doing for us.
Yeah.
So one example of that you mentioned is that today is the end of quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see me frazzled? Do you see
You're
me?
you're remarkably calm, Abhijit. I'm very impressed.
So not to market too much, but like one of the things that we do here is that we use Outreach to run Outreach.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at my AI prediction on my pipeline summary. By the way, I posted a version of that on LinkedIn today. It's my actual live dashboard that I posted. Obviously, I grayed out a few numbers, but so it's my live dashboard. And the AI prediction actually tells me how I'm going to do in my quarter. And it's been really accurate. And the reason why that is happening is because of how agentic AI is driving our sales process. That's why we can predict all of that stuff. It's being, so essentially the insights are, real. That's what I mean to say. And it's helping me and it's helping us. So it's not making me redundant. And I don't think it's going to make humans redundant.
Well, let's just use that example as sort of like, the double click on that a little bit. I think, forecasts in terms have been notoriously unpredictable and inconsistent and incorrect over time for every company, big companies, small companies. Why? Because I think there's too much human emotion and guessing that goes into it, right? And so if you can actually use AI to objectively look at the data and look at the trends and be really clear about what is and isn't going to close, you might not like the answer. It may not give you the answer you want, right?
But you
But
can
if it
speak it
gives you
down.
if it gives you the reality, you have something to react to and do something about, as opposed to being surprised or unhappy later.
So Siemens, Scott Gardner was up on stage at Unleash, and he talked about how they're using outreach for standardizing their sales methodology, essentially for forecasting across all parts of the business, which is across 190 countries. And the reason it is so important for Siemens is because when you have a standardized process, and that drives predictability, that drives visibility in the business. And the way it works, the way AI works in this process is that because AI is involved in every step of the way, it's helping you figure out who you want to connect with. It's
Mhm.
helping you figure out what you want to say. It's helping you figure out what your action items are.
Mhm.
It's helping you give insights from your conversations in real time and post conversation. All of this data is coming up in the forecasting, in the pipeline analytics, in the pipeline summary view for you to know, okay, how is my team doing? How is my quarter doing? So once you are doing all of this work in one platform, that's when you get the insight. Otherwise, if it's disconnected platform with a bunch of different tools, yeah, it doesn't matter what you do, you will not get that insight.
Yeah. Well, and I think, in the past, we've had to ask explicit questions of the tools we have, right? You have to know enough about what you're looking for to ask the right question. What I love about most platforms, including Outreach, now you can ask a broader question and not have it be as structured as you needed to before, to get to have the agents do the work for you to help figure that out. And as you train those agents, to have the agents start to question your questions as well and say, like, what are you actually trying to achieve, and let me suggest a different way of coming about that as well. So as an augmentation of what we're doing, and as an augmentation of some of, quite frankly, the limitations we have in our linear thinking, the sky's the limit, it feels like, in terms of what it can do for us.
So it's very interesting you say that, because traditionally how people have worked is they looked at a whole bunch of data and then you try to make sense out of, okay, what should I do next?
Mm-hmm.
Even most CEOs or CROs are at this time today actually staring at a big dashboard and trying to figure out, okay, which graph is going which way.
Right.
Now with AI, it's very different. The paradigm is very different because AI is looking at all the data. You are not. And it's coming and telling you that, hey, you know what? This is where needs your attention. This is what you need to do next. It's the best next action that the AI is recommending for you, because a lot of the reasoning is done, the data processing is done by the AI, right? So that's the whole idea, the whole promise of agentic AI and autonomous AI and how that works. And we want to make that a reality because that makes a lot of sense.
Really excited to have on Sales Pipeline Radio today. We've got Abhijit Mitra. He's the CEO of Outreach, talking about the future, really the future of selling. What are humans doing? What are agents doing? There's obviously a wide adoption curve right now of people using AI. There's some people that are sort of way ahead and sort of adopting it in every level of their business, still figuring things out. There's some that kind of have their head in the sand and say, like, I like my status quo. I like the way I've always done things. I imagine there's even Outreach customers, right, like myself, that been doing it for a long time, where adopting new things can be exciting and scary. As you talk to people that are sort of in those early stages of adopting AI as part of their go-to-market rhythms, what are your recommendations to them, and what do they need to know as they start down that path?
Basically, Matt, I think every company of every size is looking at AI in some shape or form. And there have been different forms of AI: predictive AI, assistive AI, and most recently agentic AI powered by generative AI, right? So everybody is trying to figure out what makes sense. Now the
Mhm.
problem is that there's a lot of noise in the market. Everybody says, "Oh, we got it. Come to us. We'll help you solve world hunger." That's
Right.
not true. Okay, so that actually creates some challenges for customers of ours or other customers, or generally any company in the market, as to what should I do with AI? What should I look for? What works? What doesn't work? Where should I apply? Where should I not apply? What I tell my customers always is that, first of all, choose a partner you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
Choose a partner who has a platform vision and not a point solution vendor. So that's one, because you're looking at not one use case, you're looking at a platform which can basically run all your different use cases tomorrow, as long as they're connected by data. The
Right.
second thing that we tell them is, okay, let's help you identify what use case you're looking for. The use cases really matter a lot, because AI, agentic AI today, in spite of whatever people may come to claim, doesn't work very well for everything. So there are certain use cases. For example, one of the ones that we hear quite a bit is MQL to SAL conversions. I have
Mm-hmm.
a whole bunch of inbound leads. I don't have enough people. They're just like falling on the floor. What can I do? Well, you can run my AI agent that's going to, filter them out for you. They're going to enrich them, follow up, and tell you which ones you should focus on.
That's
The
right.
improvement, the help in productivity saving is just tremendous out there. So this is just an example. Identify the use case. Make sure you pick the right vendor. And the last one that I think is super important, that many people don't think about, is get your data strategy together. Because it's like garbage in, garbage out. You
Mm-hmm.
put garbage
Mm-hmm.
in into agents, they will do garbage for you also. So you need to have the right data strategy. You need to make sure, like, okay, where is the data coming from? Do I even have clean data? Most people don't. So
Mm-hmm.
then what am I going to do about that? Now, one of the ways in which we help in outreach is that we say that, look, even if you have garbage data in your CRM, outreach, the data that you're getting through your interaction with your customers, that's not garbage. That's fresh, that's real time, that's real data actually. And
Right.
we can help you enrich that data also with our data connectors, with our partners, with our data partners as well. And finally, in the end, even after doing all that, let's say you don't have the right data, turn the agents on, because they will filter out
Yeah.
the noise from the signal for you. Whatever you don't have, right data, it's noise, throw it out of the system. Where you have the right data, it's signal, act on that.
But we could have a whole nother episode just on data and like the importance of data and the lack of data so many companies have to make this work. I did want to go back to something you said earlier in those comments around the need and value of the platform, right? Because I see a lot, there's so many tools out there right now.
Yeah.
And with the variety of tools and then the vibe coding people have, I hear a lot of people saying, well, I'll stitch some things together and I'll do it myself. And my reaction is always like, well, here we go again. Because every time we see sort of some innovations in the space in various different technologies, people say like, well, I can do this myself.
Yes.
Like, no, you can't. Because like this isn't really what you do, right? You may have the capacity to do it, but are you going to really be able to continue to invest in making that work? Is this really what you're best at? And is this really where you should be spending your time? So, I'm sure you guys see this as well, like from a platform standpoint and as a category leader, like how talk about why a proven platform is still so important.
So, so I tell my customers that, look, if you're looking for a partner, so if you're looking for AI, first of all, come to
Yep.
us. Why? Because we are technologists, we are engineers, we are looking at this day in, day out, and we are best at this. Unfortunately, you're not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so come to us. We'll figure this out for you. We will give you pre-configured agents. We
Mm-hmm.
will customize and make it work in your heterogeneous landscape to make sure that it does what you're wanting it to do. If you go out and do it on your own, you can buy a bunch of tools and do it on your own. Yes, you can put some things together for sure. And many people are doing that, by the way. I'm not saying that's the wrong strategy. It's just that it's not a scalable strategy, because we see the use cases across every customer, across all our 5,000 customers. We see those use cases, and we are productizing those and bringing out those best practices to everybody out there, using the best technology out there. But individually, a customer cannot do that. Customer by customer, they cannot do that. Now, to some
Right.
extent, it is true whenever you have a technology disruption in any industry.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was true for like mobile, for example. That's how it was true for SaaS, and now it's true for generative AI too. Whenever you have a new technology, it takes a little bit of time before the market figures out that, oh, this can be packaged into prepackaged software that I can buy and deploy, and I don't have to own that, and it's cheaper for me, it's better for me. So that's going to pan out, I think, over some months. I think we'll see that, but that's the situation that is true in the landscape today. So
Yeah.
we tell our customers, trust us, we know what we are doing. Just deploy a platform.
Yeah, no, I like that. Well, as calm as you appear and as generous as you've been with your time, it is still the last day of the quarter, so we're going to let you go. Abhijit Mitra, CEO of Outreach, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me here, Matt. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, great conversation. Shout out to Haley Flanagan, who prefers to be in the background, but helped make this possible as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, listening in, watching. We'll see you next time on Sales Pipeline Radio. Take care.